People might not like Back for Blood, but one concept that I think it did well, or at least explored interestingly, was the idea of enemy survivors. In this case, the cultist faction you can fight in it. Something like that for Left 4 Dead would be neat, and there's a mod recently that popped up on the workshop that explores just that. It's called Survivor Versus, and the gist of it is that instead of fighting special infected throughout a campaign, you're fighting against the other survivor team. So, if you're playing as Left 4 Dead 1 survivors, you'll be fighting Rochelle, Coach, Nick, and Alice. Or vice versa, depending on the maps you're playing. This means that they'll be armed with different weapons, they'll have their own callouts, and they will use unique voice lines when fighting you. They also have different variants, so they can carry different guns or melee weapons depending on when they spawn. This even goes for the tank, who is changed accordingly to a really tough boss survivor, and it's really fun. Probably one of the more unique ways I've played Left 4 Dead 2 in a while.
These ain't zombies. Somebody's been shooting people.
Somebody? Coach, you know who did this.
I don't know shit. We're gonna keep moving.
I think what makes it really work well is that it still keeps the suspense of the special infected fights without going down the same road. All of them are considered jockeys for some reason, but it still gives you that musical sting that plays to let you know that a survivor has spawned. They'll typically just ambush you. They'll run at you from around a corner with a gun or another weapon and attack, trying to get rid of as much of your health as they can. And they can do a good job of that, even on normal. An individual enemy survivor isn't much, but if you get two or more together at once, it's a big problem. There are times when I've seen them coordinate really good attacks that brought down my entire team. Like one time playing the Parish, they took advantage of the height on the higher levels of the bridge to down all of us early on in the finale. There was another time playing the Sacrifice, when an enemy Ellis fired on the explosive barrels inside that one garage and took out a large chunk of my health in the process.
Weapons good! Reloading! I'm down!
The enemy AI can be pretty smart. It isn't always just rushing you with a gun and then dying after taking out chunks of your health. But that can still be pretty spooky, especially when the tier 2 weapons come out. I think what I like about this is the attention to detail. The enemy survivors will use unique lines that pertain to taunting or getting angry at the friendly survivors. Like Zoe saying, like, I could shoot you where you stand. Or Nick saying, is that a survivor? When spotting one. So the context is changed accordingly. It isn't just like they're calling out jockeys and then Alice shows up. The bosses replace the tanks. There are no witches in this as far as I know, but the tanks are interesting because there are one of two variants you can encounter, and the way it plays changes heavily. You either have an enemy survivor with a chainsaw or with an M60. The chainsaw one runs at you with a chainsaw. They have a lot of health, they can tear through yours quickly, and if you have a chainsaw of your own, you can get into duels with them. Though that'll end with them usually winning, just because of how much damage they deal out. The M61 is interesting because they can do a hell of a lot of damage, but there's a certain amount of time they have before they have to stop and reload their gun, which gives you the chance to fire back on them. They have about 2,000 health on normal, and that will increase if you go higher up on the difficulties, or lower if you go for easy. The same goes for the normal enemy survivors.
Watch out!
their arsenal really varies. Like, all the guns that are normally available outside of the grenade launcher will be usable by them. So you can counter them with magnums, with SMGs, with pump shotguns, with SPAS 12s and everything else, and their names will be marked accordingly. It's a very inventive use of the special infected category, and I just think it's so cool. One of the best ways to play with it I've found is to give the enemy survivors reskins to make them look more generic, or to look more like bandits. That way it feels less like you're fighting Coach, Rochelle, Nick, and Ellis, and instead like Ford looters or cultists or madmen gunning for whatever survivors are in the area. It also really forces you to change how you're playing the campaign, because ranged attacks are much more likely to happen, and it makes you keep track of the different vocal callouts of the enemy survivors. So like there'll be times I'll be checking under trucks and things of that sort to see if I could catch sight of their legs or get early shots off at them before they could hit me. Because out in the open they can deal a lot of damage. The survivors react accordingly, they are more vocalized when taking hits from the enemy survivors. So at least you know like when your team is being messed up by them. Something odd I noticed though is that maybe I'm just used to the improved bot AI mods, but it seems like the friendly AI isn't as smart with this active. Though I could be totally wrong on that front. I just noticed them struggling to climb ladders and such, in no mercy, or having problems with pathfinding. It could have just been me though. Maybe if you install an improved AI mod it would fix that. It's hard to tell. I remember the Left 4 Dead AI being pretty decent overall. This works with all campaigns, and it kind of, again, plays like versus mode. The grenade launcher is a rare find, though it can still be there at the usual spots it spawns. Explosive ammo does spawn, and fittingly enough, it does stumble the enemy survivors. You can shove enemy survivors unless they're the tank variants, and they can be ignited with Molotovs and such. Same with getting hit with bile. Though it's kind of a waste unless there are a lot of infected already there. I think one of my favorite details is if you're fighting a chainsaw enemy survivor, their chainsaw will actually attract the infected and get them to attack you. It's like a little bonus on top of the tank-like threat already being there. I just think it's a really cool way to rework the gameplay flow of Left 4 Dead 2. It's a simple change, but it goes a long way for adding variety and making it feel fresh. It reminds me of the Rochelle's Revenge mutation, though. That was more of a comedic, funny mod. It did still serve a similar purpose, though. The idea of gun-toting enemies ambushing you and trying to attack you throughout the campaign. This just fleshes it out more with more variants for the enemy models and such.
Alarms everywhere, people. Watch yourself.
I'd recommend it though. It's a really good mod. Rochelle's Revenge is good, but this is a step up just because of how much it adds. I like the details of the new voice lines. I like how well it plays, and the new layers of difficulty that come from these unique enemy types popping up, especially when you've got 2 or more at once gunning for you. So, shout out to the creator, Edison Gar, for making it. Did a really good job on that, and thanks for making this very unique way to change up how the game plays. It's always nice to see a mutation that goes a long way for adding replay value to Left 4 Dead 2. Mods are what make that game so special, and it is already a fantastic game in of itself.
Now, reloading.
Reloading.
So again, check out Survivor Versus when you get the chance. I think you'll have a great time with it. Thank you all for watching. Take care.